Hi, my name's Ed Mueller, and I wanted to do a video uh, to try to help people that are feeling helpless and hopeless, and maybe there's no way out that they're feeling. But first of all, there is, and second of all, I think I could best do this by briefly telling you my story, and maybe it will help. And again, I'm saying this to try to help. I'm not trying to claim to be some big success story or anything like that. I did have some valuable, or feel I have some valuable insight that may be helpful. I'm quickly approaching 60 years old, and I've learned a lot along the way, as I'm sure many of you have. So I'm not claiming to be unique in that department. But again, it would if you just have a few minutes, please listen and see if this is helpful. Um, I guess I'll briefly tell you my story. I've definitely been through quite a lot. Again, not unique, but I do feel I've been through quite a lot, and I have learned a lot the hard way, as many of us have. Um, I would like to say, though, a lot of the things that I have learned the hard way, or the rough times that I have been through, have been because of myself and my actions. And I'm not blaming others or society for this. There are other people that were simply dealt a bad hand, and there was nothing they could have done to control it. That they were going to have some rough lessons. With me, and just looking at it pragmatically, I would say I pretty much dealt myself those hands. Um, I've been in truly helpless and hopeless situations before where you're thinking, I don't know what to do. There's just no way out. You know, broke, even homeless, shamed, and I'll go into that later. Few friends, no real support structure, and a lot more. Again, this was my fault of my own doing, truly. But I'll before I go into that, I'll digress into uh, my story, and how that happened and what I did to get out of it, and it also automatically, or it resulted in this helplessness and hopelessness going away. I always wanted to be accepted by others, and most of us do. I mean, that's just human nature. Um, I probably took it to a different level. That other, I was almost afraid to even give my own opinion on things because I didn't want to be, rejected. Um, so I acted as others, you know, I thought wanted me to, and I tried to be accepted in every way. I wanted so much to be liked, accepted, and respected. So I did. I always talked myself up, and um, I just in every aspect. And I eventually started an investment business, and uh, did all sorts of things, invested in companies and stock market and whatever. And I had several investors, and I was doing quite well, and but I was not doing as well as I was representing, because again, trying to impress. And anyway, it just some to kind of truncate a little bit. I kept growing, but then things weren't going as well as I was saying, and eventually I kept borrowing money, and I was sinking. But I did not tell my investors this, and I kept borrowing, trying to get out of this nosedive. It didn't work out, and I deceived people and continued to borrow, trying to get out of this mess, and I did not. And eventually it caught up with me, and because of my deception, it was criminal. So I did get in trouble, and I served almost 8 years in prison for that, which I deserved. So again, not saying poor me. I'm just kind of saying the fact. Um, so after that, that's a long time, because I'd never been in any sort of trouble before. I don't, not really a trouble seeker, but I definitely was guilty and deserved it. And I served that time, and it was very insightful because it was kind of like a complete reset. Like I didn't have any expectations, which because you're an ex-felon, so they're not people aren't expecting a lot in some degrees, sadly. And I came out and I got married pretty quickly, and that was a mistake because you're kind of starting over. I had nothing, and I wasn't. You get so lonely after time in prison. You just want to establish and get back, into normalcy or into society. So I did that. That was a mistake. Not placing blame on anyone or talking badly, but it didn't work out. And that was 10 years. So I was 43 when I emerged from prison, and so basically those 10 years were just, again, getting back in that rut of trying to impress or live the life that I thought others would live. But I did have the insight what prison gave me, which I'm not saying is a good thing, about prison's a good thing, but there are some benefits of that clarity that you get in there. And at 53, I was completely starting over again. Absolutely nothing, to my name. I had nothing. It was completely starting over. And I then started just doing something that I liked. I said, what do I like to do? Because I was feeling, at that point, I was at the bottom, feeling hopeless and helpless and just nothing. I was getting older, and I had basically nothing going for me, and I had no future. I didn't know what to do, and even if I did know what to do, I didn't know how to do it. So I started over, and I needed a little money to get my little business idea going. So I was a window washer when I was young, and I still had the skills. So I went out and washed some windows and saved up a little money. It was tough going, but I got a little money, and I started this business here in California. It was just a little internet sales business, and I just rented a little warehouse and an office, and it had a little apartment on the side. So I lived there, and I was just more focusing on survival and just basically starting over. And I really loved the business. I just loved it because I was doing what I liked, but people would look at me and say, hey, that's, you're just buying and selling junk. You're just a junk dealer, which I wasn't, but, people looking at it might think it. But over the years, people saw me that I was working, and that felt so good to really just work and at your own thing, and just and actually create something. And over the years, because I had basically not given up on life, but I basically given up on trying to impress people, because I'm like, okay, I'm screwed. I need to survive. Let's just go forward. So I just worked and focused. I was alone. I wasn't with anybody. No girlfriend, or wasn't married or anything. And of course, I always yearned for that, but I didn't have anything to offer them, I felt. So I just worked and picked up, and all the neighbors saw me, and all the, people that I worked with saw me. And actually, ironically, over the years, the respect of others for me doing what I wanted to do, being myself, I was actually me, and I found out that I was a little bit likable to some people, and that made me feel really good. And over the years, people would invite me. One family that worked across the street, and they had a business, they kind of adopted me. They, had me to all their family dinners, and it was great. And then I realized that I did have something to offer, and my business grew. I'm not, rich or anything, but I rented another warehouse across the street and started a nice little business that I really enjoy. But I did notice that once I started to do what I wanted to do and just be me, whatever it was, that hopelessness and helplessness went away. And what I had previously associated and valued with that hopelessness and helplessness going away was money and success to others. Really wasn't it. I mean, granted, we all need money. I love money, just like anyone else, or love what money can do, but not in excess. I just love to be able to pay my bills. That's what I mean by love money. And I love to save so I can have a retirement. But I got comfortable in my own skin, and I noticed I no longer had that helplessness and hopelessness, just because I was happy with me, no matter what I did. Then I realized all the people that I respected and thought were it and would look down on me were now looking up at me, because like, this is a guy that, he drives a forklift and moves furniture and does this and that, but he's doing what he wants, and he's creating something. And that made me feel really special. So I was still lonely, and time went by, and I got some really good friends that cared and that worked with me. And so some people for my birthday present, they made a bio on me on Match.com. And they kind of did their own. I'm looking and I go, no, and I appreciated it, and it was great. But I was like, that's not me. So I'm going to take away all the fluff. I'm going to take away all the, the impressive things, and just say, this is me. I like this. I don't like that. I don't want to waste anyone's time or have someone come to me that I'm not going to like. I mean, why waste the time and waste their time? So I was just truly me. And when you open yourself up like that, you're open to a lot of criticism. So it's kind of like you got a lot of people that would text me on the dating site and say, oh, you're never going to find anyone, and you're weak or whatever. But I was like, yeah, that hurts. It hurts. I'm sensitive. But eventually, but I'm like, just stick with it. Be me. Don't change now. And one day I got this message from this beautiful person. Denise is her name. And I couldn't believe it. And I was like, and I looked at her bio and I was like, wow, this is an amazing person. And we started talking, and I knew within days that we were going to be married. And I'm a slow mover. Trust me, I'm not one to just jump right into a relationship. Especially after what I had been through at my own fault. And we met. She lived, in Washington and state, and I lived in California. But we met, and both of us are very careful people. But we were married 4 months later, and have been married ever since. And every day I thank the universe for bringing her in my life. And we are now working together in this business, and she loves it, and I love it. And again, I'm not claiming to be a success story financially or anything, but I definitely feel like I succeeded in what I wanted. And I noticed that was by me being myself and happy with myself. And I think a lot of hopelessness and helplessness comes from when people try to be something they're not, because they can't possibly succeed at that if that's not what makes them happy. So that's what I wanted to say, and I hope this helps you. And I really thank you for watching this video.